Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to all who are joining us in person here at Temple and all joining us via our live stream. And thank you, Yael, for zooming in to be our cantorial soloist this evening. Thank you so much. Wonderful to have you with us and lovely to celebrate with your music and Shabbat together. And so we'll begin as we invite Corlin to come and light Shabbat candles, page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
As we join together in Hine Matov, how beautiful, how wonderful it is for us to be together.
Hine Matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim sheverachim שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
And how beautiful and wonderful this early spring day was, and so we join in Ma Yafeh Hayom, how beautiful this day is.
מה יפה היום, שבת שלום. מה יפה היום, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת שלום. מה יפה היום, שבת שלום. מה יפה היום, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת, שבת שלום. שבת שלום.
We turn together to page 20 as we welcome Shabbat into our hearts and our lives, as we join in that mystic poem, Lecha Dodi, where we go out and we greet our Shabbat bride.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אליך מיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נס יוחד. סוף מעשה ומחשבה הילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך כמיורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד פני אלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated as we continue Mizmor Shir, a psalm, a song for Shabbat, page 22.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. מגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי פגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
We continue on page 24, and I had to turn up the microphone. So we'll just adjust a little bit here. There we go. Good? Okay. Sorry? Yes. Page 24, we join in Shalom Aleichem, and I hope that the folks online can now hear me and the microphone is loud enough. Please let us know.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn together to page 26 as we rise for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal ve'yikadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirteh ve'amlich malchuteh, B'chayecha u'b'yamechon u'b'chayedecha Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alav molal me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach ve'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei kedusha barichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma ve'imeru, amen.
And Baruch, page 28.
Baruch Hu Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach. Le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Now and forever.
Please be seated. We continue page 30 as we thank God for the miracles, the wonders of creation with Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitfuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We rise together for Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated, and we continue with V'ahavta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam B'shivtecha u'beitecha u'vlechtecha v'aderech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai ve'item kedoshim l'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti echem מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40, Mi Chamocha, our Song of Freedom.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושי פלא, נורא תהילות עושי פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך רעות בניך, בוקר הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל Yisrael. Let's join together, top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. לחיים.
Page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. So we thank God for the opportunity, the joy of celebrating Shabbat together, top of page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We turn together to page 46 as we rise for Amidah. And we pray as if everything depends on God and act as if everything depends on us.
Adonai sefetai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'Mevii Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim ravim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamacha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech me'mit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated as we continue, top of page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Page 55, let's join together at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And let's join together in our prayer for peace on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Yehiyu leratzonim refi, hegyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzonim refi, hegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi begoali. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi begoali. Yehiyu leratzonim refi, hegyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzonim refi, hegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi begoali. Adonai Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Begoali.
There are many times in our lives where we think of so many different parts of life, right? And this week is incredibly special. This week we read Parshat Bamidbar. We begin a new book in Torah. And as we do that, we also celebrate an important event in the history and the community. It is Yom Yerushalayim, or Israel's celebration of the reunification of Jerusalem in 1967. It's no accident, because there's no accidents in Jewish life, right? There's only these confluences of moments of study. So it's no accident that this interesting nexus of the 40-year journey through the desert happens and begins, or that book begins, at the same moment, the same day that we celebrate this incredible experience of Jerusalem becoming once again in Jewish hands. Yom Yerushalayim, 56 years ago today. Jerusalem has been the focal point of Jewish life. We have poems and prayers and thoughts and ideas that all focus around the idea of returning to Jerusalem, our homeland, our ancient heart, if you will. We have 3,000 years of Jewish tradition, 2,000 of them without our capital and 1,000 of them with. And as we read through this parsha, we read about the desert sanctuary being the focal point. And of course, that desert sanctuary then gets transferred to become the sanctuary, the temple built in Jerusalem, destroyed a few times in the course of history, significantly in 586 BCE, again in 70 CE. And then, since 70 CE, Jerusalem had been under various different force occupiers, different communities, different countries, last of which were under the British Mandate for Palestine. And when that ended in 1948, and the ensuing war that happened, there was an armistice line that was drawn that found the entire old city of Jerusalem in Jordanian hands, and that's where the line sort of went through. It was sort of the old city of Jerusalem, and then the eastern parts of Jerusalem, and the western and the newer parts of Jerusalem on the Israeli side. In June of 1967, we go through what we have come to be calling the 67 War, or the Six-Day War. And it was a preemptive strike. We knew that the Egyptians and the Jordanians and some of the other countries were quickly going to begin a offensive against Israel, so we preemptively struck and decimated the Egyptian forces. At the same time, of course, we are in consultation with the Jordanians, and the Jordanians ignore and they invade. And at the end of it, we end up finding ourselves in incredible gains in territory. We gain everything from the armistice line up to the Jordan River, including much of the Sinai Desert, which eventually was given back to Egypt in 77, 10 years later. But it also included the old city of Jerusalem. And the old city included the wall. And there's a story, I don't know if it's real or apocryphal or whatever, but there's a story of a cadet at West Point who asked his instructor why the battles of the Six-Day War were not studied as part of the curriculum of modern warfare. You would think that this would be something that would be included. It was such a radical success, and you would think that in terms of military strategy and everything else, this would make sense to study. So the cadet approaches the general after class and asks the question, why in fact do we not study anything about the Six-Day War and the success that the Israeli forces had? And the general smiles and calmly explained that the Six-Day War is not studied because at West Point we study strategy and tactics, not miracles. Because if you look at the events of 67, there were these battles that went on between the Israelis and the Jordanians, and for almost inexplicable reasons, the Israelis quickly took control. They surround the old city, they capture the old city, they go in through what is known as the Lion's Gate, which is one of the 7 gates into the old city of Jerusalem. The Lion's Gate is maybe about half a kilometer, so I don't know, quarter of a mile? Yeah. About a third of a mile from what we know now as the Kotel, the Western Wall, but it wasn't there's not a straight road between here and there, and so it winds through these little alleys and whatever. And almost immediately, they have no resistance. The Jordanians seem to just have picked up and left. And so within a few moments, there is this group of Israelis who are standing in front of the Kotel and standing in front of the wall. And somebody sends out a message on the radio, and the message says, Har Habayit biyadenu. Har Habayit means the Temple Mount, or the place where the temple stood, and the place where now we have the Alaska Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, which have been there for the last several hundred years. But that's where the temple stood, and right below it is, of course, the Western Wall. And they don't know what to do. These soldiers are standing there, they don't know what to do. Finally, within a short period of time, Rabbi Shlomo Goren shows up out of nowhere. We don't really know why he was there, and we don't know what he was doing, but he brought a shofar with him. And in this unbelievable reenactment of the ancient tradition of standing at the corner of the southwestern corner of the Temple Plaza and blowing the shofar to announce a new moon, a community gathering, an important event, he blows the shofar in this ancient drama of reconnection. And the entire country is amazed. No one thought that this was really a possibility. Just a few days later, we had Shavuot. So Shavuot is, of course, one of the 3 pilgrimage festivals, the first fruits, if you will. The time where we would also celebrate receiving Torah from God. So it's a time where we think of receiving our textual traditions as well as the first fruits of the harvest. And so on that first Shavuot, thousands and thousands of people showed up at the Kotel, at the Western Wall. The first time that the Kotel, the entire place, was under Jewish governance for 2,000 years. And the first time Jews had been able to even be there in 20 years, since 1948. At the end of some of our holidays, we say a phrase that says, next year in Jerusalem, right? At the end of Passover, great. The end of Passover, we say the next year in Jerusalem. We also say at the end of Yom Kippur. And at a wedding, when we break a glass, we break that glass in one of the traditions is we break it as a way of thinking about the destruction of the temple and the fact that although we are in this incredible happy moment, we also think of the sadness of the destruction that occurred. So today, we rejoice. Jerusalem is the most incredible place. The air just is different. You can, walking down the street, see Jews of all flavors, varieties, and customs, and traditions, and practices, and it's all happening in this dynamic, kind of strange and wonderful setting. Jerusalem is a complicated place, filled with emotion and tradition for so many different cultures and religious traditions have connections to Jerusalem. And so as we celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, celebrate this day of connecting with Jerusalem, we thank God for that opportunity, for the opportunity to go and to visit and to make it our own. I've led many trips. In fact, this year, Carl and I were able to take our both 19th and 20th trip to Israel because we left for 2 days to go to Petra in Jordan. So we got to go back in. That was our 20th, my 20th. And every time I go and every time I lead a trip, we go to the Kotel. And one of the things that I tell groups to do at the Kotel is to pick a stone. Pick one of the stones and make that your stone so that when you go again, you can visit your stone. Something that actually somebody told to me on my first trip, one of the guides. And so, since I've been 18, I've been visiting my stone. And it's a wonderful sense of being able to say, that's a connection, that's mine. And it hasn't changed. I don't think I've changed much. I hope I've changed. And yet there's this very comforting sense of continuity. That ancient city, the ancient connections that we have are there for us. So Yom Yerushalayim Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. We are going to continue with Misha Berach on page 253. We think of all those who need a blessing of healing. Those who we know, our friends, our family, our community, and those who we don't. Those who struggle silently, and those whose struggles we know about. Speaking of struggles, this is asthma, by the way. We think of Steve Toddleben, Diane Levy, Martha Snyder, Patrick Callahan, Rabbi John Bush, Joanna Bush, Jay Kaler, Sidney Kruzek, Arlene Sandelstein, Barbara Gage, Walter Horner, Sandra French, John Myers, Sidney Scrementi, Royce Haas, Marcia Koblitz, and Paula Bennett. And if anybody would like to add a name, if you're here in person, please add a name. If you're here online, please add it into our chat. We join in our prayer for healing.
May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Nisheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn together to page 282. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושביע קרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We think now of all those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. We are in the period of Aninut for Demetrius Katsaros, Edie Joseph's uncle. We send condolences to Edie and Sindra and their family. We're in the period of Shloshim for David Renberg, the father of Ingrid Renberg, and condolences to you, Ingrid, and your family. And we observe Yartzeit on this Shabbat. For Esther Shapiro, Ernest Gartner, Mayor Gluck, Abe Cohen, Anna Simon, Lorette Snyder, Len Kolos, Lester Strong, Donna Zaks, Eliezer Goldsmith, Matilda Moss, Martin Weitz, Claire Levine Warner, Simon Bernstein, Hyman Castleman, Leah Emmerman, and Bradley Holabaugh. If others have any names that they would like to add, please, if you're here in person, please call out a name. If you are joining us via live stream, please add a name into our chat box. We rise together and we turn to the words of Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach l'rutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'elam l'armeh almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, kata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. We're going to invite Julie Cohen forward to share some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's here and everybody who's joining us on live stream. Tomorrow morning, services will be at 10 o'clock, and I hope you'll all be able to join us to celebrate the bar mitzvah of Brandon Skornick. Also, this Sunday is Mitzvah Day, 10 a.m. You can do outdoor gardening. You can meet at the cemetery and help do some landscaping and clean up there. You can assemble blessing bags for vets, and there will be lunch at noon. And immediately, well, probably before lunch, just before lunch, you can join us for a baby naming for the Kotzer family and his twins. So it's a very special baby naming.
It's a double bris.
So, yes. Also, our annual meeting is June 13th at 6 p.m. That's a Tuesday. And there will be a lot of activity going on besides the meeting. There will also be a demonstration of our new system called ShulCloud, and the person who is designing our new High Holy Day Torah covers will be there as well. And then there is also a special Gesher Teacher Shabbat on Friday, June 2nd, and a dessert oneg will follow. And thank you for the wonderful service. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. So, Yael, thank you so much for joining us and lending your beautiful voice. And we are going to conclude with, since it is Yom Yerushalayim, what other song could we conclude with than Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, Jerusalem of Gold?
Yerushalayim shel zahav, v'shel nechoshech v'shel or, halo lechol shirayich ani kinor. Yerushalayim shel zahav, v'shel nechoshech v'shel or, halo lechol shirayich ani kinor. Avir harim tzolkayayin, v'rayich oranim. Nisa beruach ha'arbayim, im kol pa'amonim. U'betard matilan va'even, shvuya b'chol ha'man. Ha'ir אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה הומה. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור.
We join together in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziyat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. We join together. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.